Trust. How can you trust? Well, that's my main problem, actually. I cannot really easily trust. I've met many people throughout my life, and when I moved to America, to the United States in 2003, I was hanging out in a very specific community. It was called, because it doesn't exist anymore, the visionary community, the visionary artist. And it's so funny because many of these people, I'm not saying all of them, but many of these people were irresponsible people. Late, not showing up on time, promising you everything. In the end, they were not doing a thing. So they were just, hey, the world is good. And they were just like hoping that people could help them all the time. And I stayed in the United States for approximately less than 7 years, a tiny bit less than 7 years. And when I decided to leave the visionary movement, because I thought it was full of shit, literally, I didn't want to. I wanted to make art. I wanted to do art, but not with these people, because they were stealing your ideas. They were like pretending to be creative, and every time they were stealing your ideas, they were like, I'm just taking from the pool of consciousness. And I'm pretty sure if this person is watching this video, will recognize himself, because I don't want to promote his name. And many of these people were just like it's like a teenager experience, trying to make money. But they were not necessarily serious in their messages. They were not serious in trying to help humanity to evolve, to grow. They were just a bunch of parasites taking advantage of this society, this community, in order to make more money without really doing too much. So you had a bunch of lazy people trying to make a bunch of money very quickly and not caring about the consequences of their actions. And it's so funny because in the world of psychics, healers, you have a lot of charlatans who believe strongly in their craft, but they may not deliver. So it's nice to be open-minded. It's nice to be curious, but you still need to listen to your guts. If you feel the person in front of you has some bad intentions and you feel it, step away, go away. Because there are a lot of bad people out there in the New Age movement, in the spiritual movement, in the religious movement, who are trying just to mess up with your soul in order, well, let's say your mind, because your soul is protected. Nobody can take your soul. It's just bull crap when they tell you, I sold my soul and all this stuff. I don't believe it. So, but your mind is a very powerful tool. And when you take the Catholicism, even Buddhism, a lot of people get the religion wrong because they feel they have to worship an image, but they don't understand that they can become Jesus, they can become Buddha, they can be that. It's not being like arrogant when you say something like this. You have the tools, your temple, your mind, your body, in order to become like them. That's the goal. You forgot. You waste your energy worshipping this kind of archetypes. You can use them to reach certain, let's say, level of consciousness, but you can become Jesus. You can become Buddha. And don't worship them just, I'm giving you offering, trying to help me to get, a better job. Okay, fine. Don't forget who you are. Now, that said, I believe more and more that there are people who are maybe not human. And they just don't behave like human beings. They don't want you to feel. An emotion is a normal chemical process, reaction from your brain. Why would you neglect that? Why would you deny that? If you're angry because something is happening, that's legitimate. You cannot live in a world where things are just like pretty. It's like a sugar-coated world. You've got to understand that you have to be responsible of your life. You can be like Buddha. You can be like Jesus Christ and all the different messiahs and everything. Why are you waiting for Daddy to hold your hand and to show you the path and guide you? Do you know how many people came on this planet to teach that? And we're still on the same level, meaning we still have people believing that they need a daddy. And it's the same with politics. You need a daddy to take care of you. Don't you forget that the power is for the people, by the people. We are the power, and the representatives are just representing us. They cannot make decisions for us. Did we forget that? So we are here for that, to evolve in order to become stronger. Not stronger with money. That's a distraction. Your mind is important. Now, when I teach, because I teach different languages, I'm trying to help my students to reach a certain level of independence and feel to empower them through teaching. And it works, and sometimes it doesn't work because some people are closed-minded and they don't want to accept any kind of messages. I'm not saying I'm a messiah, no. I just understood a lot of things and I'm sharing. I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be a guide. People can be their own guides. We reach a level in the timeline of humankind when we need to start waking up, not to wake up about conspiracy theories. Wake up about you can wake up and you can take care of your mind and you can start being a tiny bit more independent. I'm not talking about financial independence. I'm talking about mental independence. And some people now, they are just like, oh, but I'm anxious and I'm this and that. Don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the trap of victimization. Anybody can be a victim. Oh, listen to me. Look at me. I'm so... Yes. A lot of people went through shit, trauma and everything. And I will listen to them. I will talk to them. I will help them. But help in order to move on and not feed the past, not feed the trauma. Now, there are two kinds of reactions with the trauma. So many people out there now, they are just like a pseudo-psychologists and, I don't know. So anybody has something to say about psychology, they read a book and they are like, they became, experts. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I studied a lot in psychology. And also, I spent a lot of time with people, okay? Now, you have two kinds of trauma. I mean, you have the trauma, the normal trauma. But how do you react with the trauma? How do you behave? Either you're like horizontal, that's psychoanalysis here. Horizontal, I mean you repeat your trauma, you repeat, horizontal. Or it's vertical, that means you're like, I'm aware I had a trauma, but you know what? I'm not going to be vampirized by that. I'm going to try to find a way. I cannot change my trauma. Well, actually I can. Because your mind can trick you. And you know that souvenirs, memories, when you were a little boy or little girl, usually we see our childhood home super big, And, that happened to me. Because when I went back to my childhood home, it's like, man, this is so small. It's not as big as I thought. That is like an alteration of the souvenir. So that's how the mind works. So if you have a trauma from the past, your trauma can be modified. And I'm working on that actually. I'm trying to modify the way you perceive your trauma. So now I shared something, but I shouldn't. And So this horizontal thing is a tiny bit like this. It's like, I'm not going to repeat my trauma, for the rest of my life, but I'm going to try to find a way to stop it by modifying it, or, modify the souvenir I have of the trauma, And that's how you can also use hypnotherapy and everything. There are a lot of hypnotherapists out there. Hypnotherapy is not a show, okay? It's not something you do on stage and everything. You need. I don't believe this kind of stuff really exists, but hypnotherapy needs to be respected. It's just like religion, you need to respect religion, or it's like different psychedelics. People take psychedelics just for the fun of it, but here in Mexico, you have a lot of communities who use that in order to communicate with the divine world. So keep in mind that you're more powerful than you think. Okay, maybe you're gonna need a guide for a tiny period of time in order to get out of your vicious circle, but after you can be on your own. Okay, so there's no name for it. It's just becoming independent mentally and spiritually. Some people will say, oh, it's Satanism. No, it's not. We don't have a label for everything, but the label is always wrong because our language is kind of limited and we still have a limited mind. Keep that in mind.